Welcome to our tutorial on geometric sequences. Now, geometric sequences are different from arithmetic sequences. Geometric sequences pop up when you're multiplying by the same number every time between consecutive terms. When you have this kind of scenario, there's a formula that we will use. It's a sub n is equal to b times r to the n. Don't get burned. Remember that formula. The b is just a constant that we solve for. The r is that common ratio. So in this problem, r is equal to 3. When we go to solve, we take a number in the list. In this case, we have the second number in the list is 486. And then we're going to use those two items in conjunction with our formula. So a sub n is equal to b times r to the n. Remember, don't get burned. We plug in the 486 in place of the a sub n. We don't know b. Leave it alone. You don't want to get stung. The r is 3 and the n is 2. So 486 turns out equal to 9b, since 3 squared is 9. Divide both sides by 9, and 486 divided by 9 is 54. Put all of this together, and when we're done, we'll get that a sub n is equal to b, which is 54, times the r, which is 3, to the n. Make sure you put parentheses around that r. It's not technically needed when r is positive, but it's always good to put there. Remember the shortcut we discussed in class? To undo multiplying by 3, you would have divided by 3. So going back in time one term, 162 divided by 3 is 54, and that would be our b. BRB. Next problem. This is the second type of problem we looked at. And to use the strategy we're about to employ, you must have a geometric sequence, and you must remember our formula, that a sub n is equal to b times r to the n. So here's what we do. We start with the first term we know. In this case, we know that the fifth term is that big number. So I'm going to put a sub 5, put a bar down here, and put negative 12960. We don't know a6, we don't know a7, and it stops at a sub 8. The key to a geometric sequence is you're always multiplying by that common ratio, and r is that common ratio. So a6 is going to be negative 12960r. Multiply by that common ratio again, and a sub 7 is going to be negative 12960r squared. Multiply by that common ratio again, and a sub 8 is going to be a negative 12960r cubed. And now, here's the key. We have two expressions for a sub 8. We will set them equal. Negative 12960r cubed is equal to 2799360. Yuck. Divide both sides by the negative 12960, and we're going to figure out that r cubed is equal to whatever that division is. 2799360 divided by negative 12960 is negative 216. In this class, these problems should work out to a recognizable answer. What number multiplied by itself 3 times is negative 216? Well, that would be a negative 6. Now, if you were a little bit uncertain of how exactly you could get negative 6 for that, go to your calculator. You need to type the 3 first, but then you hit the math button over on the left. And notice where it has the xth root of a number. So we want the third root of, hit enter, parentheses, negative 216, and your parentheses, and that does turn out to be negative 6. So once we have this figured out, it's kind of downhill from here, but we do need to figure out original point that we had. So you need to come back up to the beginning and take either one of those two. I like the a sub 5 point better. It's just a smaller number. So that would be 5, comma, negative 1, 2, 9, 6, 0. And we're going to take these two items and we're going to plug in to our a sub n equals b times r to the n. The a sub n is the value negative 1, 2, 9, 6, 0. We're leaving the b alone. The r is a negative 6. Make sure you put that in parentheses. And the n is 5. So when we type out negative 6 to the 5th power, please make sure you put it in parentheses. We get negative 7776. And now we're going to divide to solve for b. Don't forget to put the b there. So b stays over there. We're dividing both sides by negative 7776 to solve for b. And as we go about solving this, we're going to hopefully figure out what the value of b should be. So negative 12960 divided by negative 7776 is 5/3. Please leave it as an improper fraction, simplified if applicable. So in this problem, our final answer would be a sub n is equal to b, which is 5/3, times the r, which is negative 6, to the n. If you were unsure of how to do that part on your calculator, you just simply take your calculator, whoop, come over here with it. We type in the expression we have, so negative 12960 divided by negative 7776, then hit your math button and tell it you want it to convert to a simplified fraction. Notice it just pops up as 5/3. One more important thing for this tutorial. We'll put it on a new slide here and we'll put stars around it. Let's say you ended up with something like this when you were solving for r. R to the 4th is equal to 16. Be careful when you solve that. Anytime it has an even exponent, there's actually two solutions. On the one hand, r is equal to 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. But on the other hand, or r could be equal to a negative 2, because a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2 is also positive 16. So in those kind of problems, when you have an even exponent, you will get two different solutions. And you would need to solve for both of them. That was a synopsis of geometric sequences. Hopefully it helped.